it's Derek Gelderman here, speaker, trainer, author of 4 published books and founder of Turbocharge Your Practice, Veterinary Business Academy and Veterinary Productivity Academy. So I received some really interesting emails during the week, and one of them actually had just one subject line, and that's all it said, and obviously it was signed as well, though I know who it's from. And this one particular email said, "I can see that it's not working." And I had to have a giggle about that. I can see that it's not working. So yeah, if you don't know what that means, refer back to last week's video and you'll see. I just thought it was a magnificent way to summarize up that last training. Anyway, on to the third training today in how to improve your learning outcomes exponentially and spend less time in doing so. And as I said right up front in video 1, all this material comes from the field of accelerated adult learning. One of the major proponents of that was Lozanov, and I have got a whole heap of material on this if you want to talk with me about it in a little bit more detail. So what I want to talk about today are anchors for learning. I'm wondering if you know what an anchor is, and I mean that politely. A lot of people don't understand what an anchor is. And I'm not talking about boat anchors, okay? I'm not talking about one of those things you throw in the water to make sure the boat doesn't float away. I'm talking about an emotional anchor. So do you, for example, have a movie and you've seen it before, and whenever you watch that movie on DVD or download or whatever, you start to cry, or you start to cry at a certain time in the movie? Is there a song that makes you happy, and as soon as you hear that song, you're happy and joyous? It doesn't matter how grumpy or miserable you felt or how bad you felt, you all of a sudden feel happy and alive. There's lots of instances like that that I can think of, and I'm sure that you can think of as well, where certain things, it may be music, it may be a movie, it may be a place, there may be a bubbling little brook somewhere near your place, or in a place that you've gone on holidays, a tranquil little glen, and you go there and all of a sudden all your cares wash away. I mean, you just walk in and everything's calm. So they're called anchors. Anchors are physiological triggers, and an anchor happens like that. So whenever you trigger that anchor, whenever you listen to the movie or watch the movie or listen to the song or walk into the brook, walk into the glen with the bubbling brook, it happens instantly. And that's an anchor. So a lot of sports people use anchors deliberately to turn themselves on. And I played A-grade squash for a long period of time, and I've just had 2 knee replacements, and the aim of those 2 knee replacements is that I can play A-grade squash again. So in another couple of weeks, I'll be back at it, fingers crossed. Anyway, positive power, positive thinking. Anyway, so when I was playing high, elite level squash, I had an anchor as well. So when I went onto the squash court, it didn't matter what had happened previously, how I felt, whether I was in a good mood, a bad mood, happy, sad, whatever it was. When I trigger that anchor, and that was actually the trigger was those fingers there. I'm left-handed, so that was my squash racket holding hand. Everything stopped for me, and I went into squash mode. The whole world just stopped. It didn't matter what happened, I wasn't part of it. Now you'll see many sports people do something strange. One of the 100-meter runners in the Olympics, he kept licking his lips all the time, and you can see that when he's on the starting blocks. So if you watch a lot of athletes, you'll see that. As I'm recording this, the French Open's on, and if you watch a lot of these guys, they have specific anchors to get them into the playing zone. Anyway, moving on. So we're going to talk about getting in the learning zone or learning anchors. So the first thing is time, and by that I mean time of day. So if you're going to learn, if you're going to study, and please share this with your kids as well as in your practice. So you should have a learning time. In our practice, our staff trainings were at midday on Wednesdays, and we had 1.5 hours put aside every Wednesday at midday. So when midday came and we went into training, everyone's brain switched on. It is midday, it is Wednesday, it is training time. And so that anchored, that midday anchored the learning process, and people slipped into learning mode a lot more quickly. So there's time and there's place. So again, if you're training in your workplace, there should be a set room, a set place for training. If you're learning yourself, then have a set place, and you could even have a set little nook with a set desk, with a set chair. And the more you use all these, the quicker your brain will say, learning time, and go bang, straight into learning mode, and it'll decrease all that downtime and get rid of it. So you'll just hugely improve your learning outcomes. So there's time, there's place, there's music, and Baroque music. When you are learning at your best, there are certain brainwave patterns that will help you learn the best. So when you what's the word I'm after? When you trigger these brainwave patterns, your learning outcomes improve significantly. And Baroque music triggers these brainwave patterns. So if you turn Baroque music on when you're learning at a very low level, then your learning outcomes will significantly improve. Then there's, of course, also smell. So there are certain smells that will help you learn more effectively. So that one you will need to look up. I can't think of that off the top of my head, but you can look it up or send me an email, and I've got it in my notes as well. Then, of course, there are no interruptions. One interruption takes between 11 and 21 minutes of your brain space, of your head space. So every time you're interrupted, it takes between 11 and 21 minutes to get back to where you were before you're interrupted. So if you have 3 interruptions in an hour, that whole hour is gone, it's screwed. So don't, set yourself up so that you're not interrupted, and it's the same when you're training with your team. Learn or train, whatever you want to call it, for a maximum of 90 minutes. Maximum of 90 minutes. Going beyond 90 minutes has a decreased outcome. So after 90 minutes, your brain is used up basically, and it needs to recharge and rejuvenate. So 90 minutes. And then the other thing that helps you a lot are things like nuts and fruit as snacks. Got to keep your energy levels up, and eating small amounts of nuts and fruits and snacks will help a lot. And obviously keeping yourself hydrated as well. And coffee's not a good thing for this. Water is a good thing. And a lot of the teas are okay as well. So they're the keys to... these are the key anchors to helping you learn more effectively. So if you apply these together with the learnings from the first 2 videos, your learning outcomes and your team's learning outcomes and your kids' learning outcomes are going to go absolutely stratospheric, and you'll need a lot less time to get those same outcomes. So that's it from me this week. I'll see you next week. Bye.